All right, looks like these two players are all set up and ready to go. These guys got to be a little nervous being on the stage. You know, they are in the senior division, so that means they were born in '99 through 2002, so usually under 15 years old. So they're just, you know, getting on the big stage got to be really nerve-wracking, but here we go. We're getting started.
And one last thing to mention, as we said, there were no American players in Masters or Juniors. Seniors was all USA, so this is going to be a USA versus USA match. And opening up with Alex with a Squirtle and Trent with a Phantom there.
Yeah, now Alex had the big advantage of going first. The biggest thing here is, can he get Blastoise in play before that Trevenant comes out? But all he did was attach a water energy to his Squirtle. Not a very strong opening, so we'll have to see how the game goes as Trent here starts off with a Juniper.
Yeah, so he's got a ton of cards. He's already got a Mew EX, which can copy that attack of his Accelgor. Got a double colorless energy on it, so he can keep the Accelgor out and gets to play the Sycamore, which gets him a bunch of cards in there. Yeah. Can't tell if he's got the Trevenant in hand or not. He couldn't evolve this turn anyway, but he just passes the turn to Alex after setting up that Mew and running the Sycamore.
Right, so this will be a big turn for Alex. Can he get that Blastoise into play? Here we do see a Pokemon catcher just trying to thin out some cards from his hand, perhaps. If he flips heads, he'll be able to choose one of the bench Pokemon from Trent.
Yeah, keeping the die on the table is an important skill.
Something that even the most veteran players cannot master sometimes. But he does get heads and brings out that Shelmet, perhaps, trying to make it more difficult for Trevenant to come out. And there we do just see a Tropical Beach. Alex will fill his hand up to 7, and that will be the end of his turn.
Oh, so there is the Trevenant. The Trevenant, remembers, its ability only works when it's in the active position. But he's got the Evo Soda. He gets to search his deck and evolve his Shelmet directly into Accelgor. Accelgor has free to retreat, so he can bring up whichever Pokemon he wants there. Do you think he wants to try to do a deck and cover immediately here and try to shut down the Squirtle before it even gets started?
It depends on how strong his hand really is. Sometimes, you know, you're just happy to set up. You put up that Trevenant and say, you know what, I know you can't play items anymore. Blastoise isn't coming out. There are no threats that can immediately come into play, so I'll just sit back and use Tropical Beach, fill up my hand, and build up a whole board of Trevenant and Accelgor, and then when I'm ready, I'll start attacking.
Right. Alex is playing a pretty classic line there for his Blastoise. He's got 4 Squirtle and 3 Blastoise, but only 1 Wartortle. That means that most of the time he's relying on Rare Candy to get out to Blastoise, and when that Trevenant's up in front, he can't play the Rare Candy, and so it's just going to shut down his ability to do that. But it looks like Trent is going to go for the early attack there, but the whole trick the Trevenant comes back up front anyway because you have to shuffle the attacker back in the deck.
Yeah, Mew EX has that awesome versatile ability that allows it to use any attack of any Pokemon in play. So you just copy Accelgor's deck and cover, shuffle it back in, and now all of a sudden Trevenant's active, Alex can't play items, and boy, this looks like a very gruesome situation for him.
Oh wow, that's a pass from Alex back immediately. Although Trevenant is kind of stuck there without a float stone. So unless he can find a float stone at this point, he can't really attack back, even though he's got the Accelgor ready to go.
Yeah, you do need that float stone. Trevenant has that hefty 3 retreat cost, but I think I saw Juniper in Trent's hand. This could be a very quick first game to open up this series. Oh man, you got to feel bad for Alex here, but we'll see. Will the game end right here?
Trent burning as many cards out of his deck as he can to make sure that the cards he's drawing has more chance of being that all-important float stone.
Absolutely, and here we see, does he get the float stone to retreat?
Look like it.
And it looks like he missed, so Alex will survive the turn, have one more chance to perhaps draw something and go on.
Yeah, Trent's going to use that. Now Trent gets to use Alex's Tropical Beach, that card working against Alex a little bit here.
And will he be able to play anything? You know, he draws a level ball. Normally, that's a great card to play, but he can't play his item cards thanks to Forest Curse on Trevenant.
And that's the game right there. Trent goes back, has the Skylo, search out for that float stone. But yeah, Trent just got set up way too fast there for Alex, and Alex just didn't even have any Pokemon, really.
Yeah, and that's just the power of Trevenant right there. Right? Alex didn't have a great hand to begin with, but Trevenant just kind of rubs the salt in the wound, says, all right, you can't play items. even if you have the cards like Ultra Ball and Level Ball to search for your Pokemon, you can't play them anymore, so you have to draw directly into them. Just makes things much more difficult.
Yeah, those Blastoise decks, well, they still run some of the supporters that everyone else runs, that your Professors and your Skylas and your Ends. So much of them rely on being able to play those item-based deck search cards and draw-based cards. So the Trevenant is just super strong in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Trevenant is very strong against any Stage 2 deck because they rely so much on rare candy. You can see it there. Alex didn't even evolve his Pokemon. He only had those 2 Squirtle. But that was a very quick game. He did lose the first one, but it is a best 2 out of 3 series. So he can win the next 2 and still win the World Championships. There's a lot on the line here.
As you see on the timer, match timer's only down to 70 minutes. That game was over in 5 minutes. That was even faster than that first junior game.
Wow, that's impressive. So we're going to hope to see a better game this time. We are in the finals here of the Pokemon TCG World Championships here in the senior division between Alex Croxton and Trent Orndroff. Dylan, at this point, who do you think is the favorite?
It's got to be Trent. That he's just got such a strong matchup with the Trevenant shutting down all those item cards over there. What is really interesting, though, is that was just an abysmal draw on Alex's deck gave to him that game. He didn't even have any of the EX cards. Like, even those would have allowed him to play 3, 4, 5 extra turns because they can take more attacks. He only had his 2 smallest Pokemon in his deck sitting out there. Each of them went down to a single attack from deck and cover. Yeah,
he plays 3 Black Kyurem EX, that is 180 HP, 3 Keldeo EX, 170 HP, and all he had was Squirtle.
Yeah, definitely not what he was looking for there. But we'll get set up here again. Looks like both players are drawing their opening hand.
Yeah, and, this is actually a very interesting matchup if Alex can get Blastoise into play. Normally, the Trevenant Accelgor deck tries to lock you down with that deck and cover attack, use the paralysis, but Keldeo EX has that Russian ability that can counter that. So if Alex can manage to get set up, it can actually be a good matchup for him still.
Well, this is a little different start here this time. Trent has a Duskull that he's starting with, which is really not what you want to be starting with. It's kind of a backup bench Pokemon using that Sinister Hand ability. We've seen a little bit. We saw some of that in the top 8 of Masters yesterday.
Yeah, Dusknoir, of course, one of the most powerful Pokemon in the game. That ability is absurd. We've seen it time and time again. Very strong in this kind of a deck where you can constantly paralyze your opponent's active Pokemon and simply move the damage away from it until you build up enough damage on their field where you swoop in and sometimes take all 6 prizes at once.
Right. The special trick there is Paralyze wears off after 1 turn. Deck and cover, you get to keep recycling your Pokemon, so if you can keep an Accelgor up, you can keep paralyzing turn after turn. But if you knock the Pokemon out, an unparalyzed Pokemon will come up active. By using Sinister Hand, you can keep pushing the damage to the benched Pokemon. You don't knock out that active Pokemon, they never get to fall out of paralyzation. And that, again, is why this deck fears Virizion so much, because Virizion EX's ability makes it so there's no special conditions and that whole chain of paralyzation doesn't get to exist.
Right. Now, we did see Alex did get 2 Squirtle down on the board, so that is absolutely what he wanted to do on that first turn. He needs to get those out. Your Pokemon have to be in play for a turn before you can evolve them. So getting down those 2 Squirtle was very, very important.
Trent playing a computer search to start off here after getting I believe, a Shellman on. Yeah, he's got a Shellman on the bench. The other great thing with Alex playing 2 Squirtle is it means that there's no tricky stuff. Trent can't knock out all of the Squirtle on the board, which gives him more chance of getting that Blastoise out.
Yeah, we see him start off with a computer search, a very powerful 8-spec card. Discards 2 cards, and he gets to search for any card he wants. We see he's also discarding that N, so he must have another supporter in his hand. Another very good start for Trent.
Yeah, he's got that Shellman out. Oh, he's going to play his own Tropical Beach. Gets the Phantom on the floor. So he's got all the basics that he wants out there. He's kind of run the table so far. Alex, though, does have the 2 Squirtles, and there's no way Trevenant's coming out this turn. If he's got Candy Blastoise in his hand, he can get the Blastoise out this game.
Right, but this is a perfect start for Trent.
Oh, man, another Level Ball there. Gets another Shellman out.
Wow, he's just got
another Level Ball.
Oh, my goodness. He is just filling his board up right away with all these basic Pokemon, and, man, that's very threatening. That's very scary for Alex. He knows he needs to get Blastoise out very soon now.
Right, and similar to Alex having double Squirtle out, Trent now has double Shellman, double Phantom, which means that Alex can't take a quick early knockout on a basic and prevent that better evolved Pokemon from ever showing up.
And we do see the Muscle Band go down the Shelmet and a Tropical Beach. That'll fill Trent's hand up to 7, and now it'll be on Alex to do something this turn.
Right, and it almost doesn't feel fair to Alex watching Trent play all those level balls when they were stranded in his hand that whole last game.
Yeah, and we do see a Skyla, though, so this could be the big moment. Will we see the rare candy for Blastoise, or does he have to settle for something like a supporter, or can he even get a Wartortle in play? This will be a big Skyla here. If he can manage to get the Blastoise out, it'll be a huge turning point in the game.
Now, interestingly enough, one thing that we see that neither of these decks are running, and that's kind of indicative of these decks, neither of them are running that Jirachi EX, which lets you pull out that emergency supporter if you need it. But here he did Skyla for the rare candy. It looks like he's going to Ultra Ball for the Blastoise. So while he didn't have the cards in hand, he had the cards to get the cards in hand.
Yeah, and he's going to have to play out his entire hand, but that's okay. The Tropical Beach is still out there. We'll see the rare candy, the Blastoise, and he'll finish out his turn by drawing 7 new cards. Not bad.
Yeah, it ends up working out really well for him with the Tropical Beach. It's interesting. Decks like this, especially these Blastoise decks, have so many resources they can play, but they're always kind of in danger of exhausting their entire deck. So that's kind of the limiting factor on if they ever hit a turn where they don't quite knock out a Pokemon, it can really hurt them because their deck is quickly creeping to 0.
Right, now we do see another double colorless energy go down onto that Shelmet, and here's an Evo Soda, so Trevenant is out once again. Will it come active, though? This is going to be another big turning point in the game. We saw Alex got the Blastoise out. He now has the ability to play as many water energy as he wants in a turn, but now will Trent get that Trevenant in the active spot, activate Forest Curse, and stop him from playing any item cards.
Right. Trent has kind of got that Duskull stranded up front, and he doesn't really want to. He doesn't want to put the energy on it to retreat it. He really doesn't want to put a Floatstone on there, but he'll probably have to do one of those to get out of this situation, and because he really wants to press the advantage right now, I'm guessing. Yeah,
he does play 4 Floatstone in this deck, so if he can manage to find one here, he'll be able to maybe deck and cover, get that Trevenant active, and the last card is the Floatstone.
And it looks like a Dusclops in his hand as well.
Wow, this has just been an incredible start for Trent so far.
There's that Dusclops, retreats back, comes up, there we go, like we said. He's even got a Mew EX in his hand that he can save backup Accelgor with. But yeah, he does the deck and cover, poisons and paralyzes that Black Kyurem EX, and then puts that Trevenant right up front. Forest Curse is going.
Yeah, now he did get the Dusclops in play as well. That Dusknoir is going to be a big factor. I mean, there's already 6 damage counters on the board for him to move around. I mean, that can add up very quickly. We see it all the time. But there is Keldeo EX. This is going to be the big Pokemon in this game. Can Alex get this powered up this turn and use Secret Sword to knock out Trevenant? That's going to be the one thing he needs to do to get back in this game.
Right. We were talking about how you get that paralyzed chain and use Sinister Hand to push all the damage counters to the back so you can keep them paralyzed forever. Keldeo completely ruins that strategy for you. With that rush in ability, it can come up to the front and become your active Pokemon from the bench without you having to worry about any special conditions on your other Pokemon. Now, if the Keldeo gets locked down, you can be in trouble, but of course he's running multiple Keldeo, so the 2 Keldeo can dance between the active and the bench.
Yeah, he has 3 Keldeo EX in his deck, so hopefully he'll be able to draw into a couple of those. It'll be a big deal here. It looks like he did get the additional 2 water energy. He's going to use Deluge, power up that Keldeo EX, and Alex is going to put up a fight in this game.
Yep. He does knock out that, well, he will be knocking out that Trevenant here pretty soon, but that still means that for that turn, he can't play any items. So
right.
he had to play that turn without any items. So he probably is really got a bunch of items in his hand ready to go right away. He played a Colress there last turn, got a bunch of cards because both players had a pretty big bench.
Yeah, now, one thing here is that Keldeo EX is weak to grass, so Accelgor is particularly strong against it.
Right.
We'll see that deck and cover do double damage, and we have the Muscle Band, so that's already 140 damage plus the 10 from the poison, so it's going to add up very quickly, and that Dusknoir is going to have a lot of damage to play around with.
Right. Trent Ultra Balled. Now, he doesn't go for the actual Accelgor. He uses the Mew, so he isn't going for the weakness right away, just doing enough to keep Keldeo locked down with the paralyzation. Because Alex doesn't have another Keldeo right now, he can't do that dance between the bench and the active, so Keldeo is kind of locked down now, at least for one turn.
This is a huge opportunity for Alex. He can take out the only Phantump that Trent has in play, and without Trevenant, the whole deck kind of falls apart.
Right.
If the Blastoise player can play all of these item cards, you know, get more Keldeo EX in play that crucial superior energy retrieval, hey, it's just going to be an easy Secret Sword knockout every turn. So this will be a big turn. Can Alex find a second Keldeo EX to rush in and get out of that paralysis?
Right, you saw him rare candy out another Blastoise. This is his opportunity to play item cards because there's no actual Trevenant up front.
Oh, and he misses the opportunity. He has to use Tropical Beach. This opens the door for Trent once again, but he does have no cards in hand. He just drew one for the turn. He might not have anything.
Yeah, Trent's kind of running out of gas here at this specific point, and he's thinking about what he wants to do here. Like, he can Tropical Beach, but that's just such a wrecking for him because he's not going to be able to get a Trevenant out, and he's going to go suddenly from the driver's seat to the back seat on this one.
Yeah, and I wonder what that one card is, but odds are he'll have to Tropical Beach here. He does put down the double colorless on the Phantom, and he actually retreats it, realizing how important that is, sacrifices the Dusclops, and he's going to Tropical Beach, fill his hand up to 7. So Alex dodges a bullet there. I mean, if that Trevenant would have come out, man, this game would have been a lot different.
Now there's that second Keldeo, which means that Alex is going to be able to swap between the active and the bench with his 2 Keldeo. So really, there's going to be no paralyzation chain at this point. Yeah. Although he would still need to get a bunch of energy on there and be retreating at least once to actually do an attack because he only has 3 energy on one of his Keldeo at this point.
Right. We can see this is kind of a snowball effect. Once the Blastoise player builds up the energy, it's just knockout after knockout. But if the Trevenant player can stop them from getting set up, then they just kind of steamroll. So it's a very fragile matchup. One side normally is the one that's going to run over the other player. It seems like this may be Alex in this game.
Yeah, Alex, again, taking advantage of not having any Trevenant in play, plays another level ball. Searching his deck for, let's see what's he going to get here. He's going to get another Squirtle. He's out of room on his bench, but he can, and he's just going to discard that Squirtle to an Ultra Ball anyway. Looks like he's probably going to Tropical Beach or has a supporter in his hand, but he's got to be knocking out that Dusclops, right? Oh, yeah. And he gets the Electrode there. It's got the magnetic draw ability. Lets him draw up to its 4 cards every turn.
Yeah. So that'll be a very good card. Nothing like N will slow him down at this point. He's always going to be at least 4 cards during his turn. Looks like a very, very strong turn here. He's going to be, looks like he's playing his hand down to 0 so he can draw those 4 cards.
Yep, he's got 1 card left in his hand right now.
Okay,
but he draws for 3. And that looks like the 1 card in his hand is a superior energy retrieval, which is something he really wants to hold on to.
Yeah, and again, he can kind of rush in and then rush in again. Both Keldeo EX can use that in the same turn. So he can just go ahead and do that and then knock out the active Dusclops and take a big prize here. It looks like he's trying to decide what to do, though. It is kind of threatening, you know, if he attacks with this and then that Accelgor comes up and uses Deck and Cover to knock out his Keldeo, and then Trevenant comes out, he won't be able to play his superior energy retrieval.
Right.
Blastoise is a deck that actually doesn't play a whole lot of water energy. Only 8 total relies on that item card to get them back. So, I don't know, he may run out of energy if that's the case.
He did just play Professor's Letter, and it looks like he didn't find any energy there. Oh no, he's still searching.
It's like, man, those are some bad prizes. But it looks like he does find the 2 water energy. So this is going to be a pretty big turn for Alex if he can manage to get more energy into play. And we see a dowsing machine as well. Let's see what this goes for.
He goes for the other Professor's Letter. Going to get all the energy out of his deck. Play those items while he can. He doesn't want to take the chance of getting suddenly hijacked by a Trevenant and not able to play his item cards anymore.
So this is just how explosive this Blastoise deck is. All of a sudden, look, he's going to be able to drop down 3 more water energy, and another Keldeo EX is all powered up. Man, it's going to be really tough for Trent to stop it at this point.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. Even if Trent had the perfect setup right now, I don't think he would be able to do much because he's not going to be, his Dusclop is going to get knocked out right here.
Right, and that's a big player here. There's that 60 damage stranded on that Black Kyurem EX back there. If he had access to Dusknoir to move it around, perhaps he could do something great, but at this point, he's just left with an Accelgor and a Trevenant, but we do see the Mew EX getting the double colorless energy, so he'll be able to deck and cover. It's just, can he keep up, right? He's going to get knocked out every turn. Can he keep replenishing his Pokemon, since he does have to shuffle one in every turn to use deck and cover?
Right. Trent kind of does get the perfect board here, minus the Dusknoir. He gets the Mew EX on the bench, has the energy on it, got the Accelgor up front, it's got an energy on it. He's got the Trevenant with the Floatstone on it. So he kind of has everything he needs, but Alex was able to get his, like, much more impactful from a general sense board setup before Trent was able to get that going.
Yeah, you just kind of a step behind. It's what the pressure from Keldeo EX can do to you. He would love to have a board full of Pokemon, but every turn, one just keeps getting knocked out over and over because he can't paralyze lock Alex's board, right? Those Keldeo EX stop that. So every turn he's having to replenish all of these Pokemon. He needs to get a new Trevenant, he needs to get a new Accelgor, he needs to get Dusknoir out, and you know, he just can't get all of them out too quickly.
Right. He plays level ball, goes for the Shelmet to make sure that he's going to keep an Accelgor in play at this point. But yeah, it looks like Alex may have the upper hand in this one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's only taken 2 prizes. It feels much worse than it is. He
Right.
still has 4 more knockouts to go. Even though Trent does play that Mew EX, that's going to get shuffled into the deck every time he attacks with it. So really, he won't have any Pokemon EX to knock out, but we do see the Accelgor being shuffled in to hit for weakness this time.
Right. It isn't enough to knock out Keldeo in one hit there, but it does get a decent amount of damage on it. With the poison, it adds up to 110, and it'll be 120 when it clicks back over, but that still means that it's got 50 damage left on it. The Mew will be able to knock out that Keldeo, but the other Keldeo is out of range at this point because it's only got 80.
Right. The biggest problem here is this is the last Trevenant that Trent has. Once it goes down, Alex gets items again. So that means he'll have access to superior energy retrieval again. So it's just, you know, the pieces of the puzzle are just kind of falling apart for Trent one by one as Trevenant are being knocked down, and he just can't get enough of them out.
Right, and we're talking constantly about the Keldeo here, but they're sleeping on the bench as the Black Hero EX. So even if he is able to take out one of the Keldeo or even both of the Keldeo with a superior energy retrieval, suddenly Black Hero EX shows up, has 200 damage to dish out.
Right, so we do see another Secret Sword for a knockout on that Trevenant, and now Trent is just left with a Mew EX and an Accelgor. Does he have anything else to do here? He may want to use deck and cover, but if he does, only seems like he has a couple cards in his hand and no more basic Pokemon. So if he does, he has to shuffle in the Mew. All that's left is Accelgor. It gets knocked out and he loses. So he has to use Tropical Beach here. A big opening for Alex to perhaps take 2 prizes and kind of lock up the game.
Right, you almost never see Mew EX get knocked out because it's always doing deck and cover. And so the fact that he actually gets it here, it gives him the other thing there where we always talk about Blastoise running out of resources. This gives it 2 prizes and actually gives it that extra, it makes it go a little quicker to get to the win.
Yeah, wow, this is an incredible game here in the finals of the Pokemon TCG World Championships in the senior division. Now, Alex will need another Water Energy to use Secret Sword for enough damage. Right now, he's only doing 110 damage, so he'll have to find some way to do an additional 10 damage, whether that's through Secret Sword or using Black Hero EX's Black Ballista.
Right. It looks like Alex doesn't run any Muscle Band like you usually don't in this deck.
Right, we do see a Max Potion, though, so that's going to heal off that Keldeo EX completely. That's a huge card, just healed off all the damage, and then he can get the energy right back with the superior energy retrieval. Wow, he'll be able to power up that Keldeo EX once again and take a huge knockout here.
Yeah, the Max Potion's drawback really doesn't do anything there because of the superior energy retrieval. He, of course, is running 4 in his deck because he needs to be getting those energy back so much. And again, that's why when the Trevenant gets set up early, why it's such a crushing blow for the Blastoise deck.
And a perfect turn for Alex. He's going to deluge 4 times onto that Keldeo EX, and he will be able to Secret Sword for 130 damage, knocking out that Mew EX. He'll go down to 1 prize, and it's just Accelgor versus the world.
Yeah, Alex does play that magnetic draw just to make sure that everything's going his way, but yeah, we're not sure what Trent's going to be able to do here. Plays a town map to look at his prizes. Gets a double colorless on the Accelgor.
Oh, it looks like he has 2 of those Phantom prize. That's why he couldn't get those Trevenant into play. Wow, that's pretty unlucky.
Yeah, he's only running, he's running all 4 Phantoms in his deck, but when 2 of them are prized, it suddenly shuts down how much you can get going there.
Wow, that's that's pretty unlucky. That's kind of what can happen in the Pokemon TCG sometimes. You have to put 6 prize cards aside at the beginning, and sometimes your useful cards are prized. But Trent extends the hand, and Alex Croxton will tie the series up 1 game apiece here in the finals. What an incredible game 2.
Looks like there's some confusion about whose Tropical Beach that was in play at the end of the game. They used the special sleeves for the stream, the anti-glare, but they have the same backs, so occasionally they can have issues. Looks like they're looking through, and that, of course, was Trent's Tropical Beach.
That's kind of funny, yeah. We have the same sleeves. They're playing the same cards, so it's like, oops, whose stadium was that? So it's, of course, stadiums are shared cards, so you're like, oops, someone might have to count their deck after this one.
Right. Looks like everything's getting ready for the game 3 here. Now, again, Trent will probably be going first this turn to not only let himself get evolved quicker, but also slow down the evolution on Alex's side, even though they have to give up that first attack. But they're both running Tropical Beach, so that's probably the card he's going to be praying. Looks like though people were ready for Pyroar this time. Looks like Trent has a mulligan.
Yep. So he does not have any basic Pokemon in his hand. He'll show his hand to Alex, and then Alex will be able to draw an extra card to start the game.
Yeah, although both these decks run a fair amount of basic Pokemon, so we probably will not see a bunch of mulligans on Trent's side.
Yeah, it just happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
All right, so, I mean, here we are, game 3 of the finals here in the senior division. Let's hear some noise for these 2 competitors. These guys have battled all the way to the finals. 1 game will decide it all right here between Trent and Alex. Dylan, after seeing these first 2 games, who do you think is going to win?
Well, I think I've still got to give the advantage to Trent, given that he's going first here. Although Alex is getting a bunch of extra cards for another mulligan, but with Trent going first, he's going to get the evolution advantage, and that really I think is going to be what pays off there. Although there's so many pieces that have to get going in that deck, the other deck that Alex is running also has a bunch of pieces it needs to get going. So Trent going first, I think, will give him the early lead there. If they both have an even start, Trent's probably got the advantage.
I think this game will probably be decided around the 2nd or 3rd turn, whether or not Trevenant comes out before Blastoise.
Right.
But as Alex has shown, Blastoise certainly is no pushover against this deck.
Yeah, and even if he somehow if he can sneak out, if he can make a small knockout, it's if that paralyzed chain gets going. If he can knock out a Trevenant and play items even for 1 turn, you saw that almost 3-minute turn he took there, putting up his entire deck, putting out 2 Blastoise, getting 2 Keldeo out there, getting the EXs out there. Yeah, he just went forever. Now, this is not a great start for Alex, though. He's only got that Voltorb to start with. Really not what he's looking for. Trent drops a Phantom and a Level Ball, gets another Phantom going.
Right, so another strong start from Trent. He's gotten very good starts every game in this finals match. I mean, he actually got a very good start in the 2nd game as well, just kind of ran out of gas. But, oh, man, 2 Phantom, a Shelmet, and a Duskull, and a Tropical Beach to fill up his hand. Wow, another very, very good opening hand.
Right. We can't quite see if he has any of his evolutions. Oh, it looks like he's got, I think I saw Trevenant, and I'm sure I saw an Accelgor in there. So Trent has really got a strong setup here. Alex has his dowsing machine. Now he runs dowsing machine instead of computer search, which means that he can't go search for the card he really needs right now. It's the late game ace spec. Looks like he has, is that maybe a Colress in there? So he does have at least 1 supporter in his hand. I see a Skyla. Yeah. But yeah, he doesn't have any Pokemon in his hand.
Looks like he's kind of debating what he should do. He has a Skyla. He could grab a Level Ball to get a Squirtle, and then perhaps Dowsing Machine for that Level Ball. Just get to play it, thin out his hand so he can use Tropical Beach, and also use the Dowsing Machine while he still has an opportunity before Forest Curse comes into effect.
Yeah.
So he may want to get a couple Squirtle down, or perhaps even search for War Turtle, knowing that next turn I won't be able to even search for this if Trevenant's active. So big decision here, and it looks like he's actually going.
Ultra Ball.
Yeah, wow. I guess he'll be able to discard even more cards. That way he can draw as many cards as possible from Tropical Beach.
Right. He could have gotten Level Ball. Likely the Pokemon he's getting is accessible with Level Ball as well. Yep, that's Squirtle. But interestingly enough, discarding more cards is actually an advantage for him in this situation. Because it'll get more cards for him off the Tropical Beach. He is giving up a Blastoise, a Rare Candy, and a superior energy retrieval there, but he needs action right now. Oh, and he does, by getting the Ultra Ball, it does give him the flexibility of getting one Keldeo as well, which will help him in that paralyzed chain.
Yeah, those mulligans actually helped out a lot, allowing him to have enough cards to play all those Ultra Balls and Dowsing Machine for the Ultra Ball again. And you see how important going first is. He actually discarded Rare Candy and Blastoise. So if he would have went first, he would have had an easy turn 2 Blastoise, but he knows Trevenant is coming out, so he won't be able to do that.
Right, plays the Tropical Beach. He's got that poor Voltorb up front, not really expecting to be in the active position very much. And yeah, I was right. He's got the Trevenant and the Accelgor. Oh, and a Duskull there.
Looks like he's going to evolve every Pokemon on his board this turn.
Yeah, Evo Soda. What an incredible turn 2 for Trent there. Every stage 1's across the entire board there.
Yeah, Trevenant, Accelgor, and Dusclops, and an end to boot.
Yeah.
So.
And hates Alex's use of the Tropical Beach there, so it doesn't hurt Alex in any way. It just means that he really didn't get much of an advantage off using the Tropical Beach there.
Of course, this is not what Alex wanted to see at all. He was hoping maybe for once Trent wouldn't get that Trevenant out on the second turn, but once again, it's out. You know, it's just a stage 1 deck. It's very consistent. It executes its strategy pretty much every game. So now he's got to think plan B. How do I get Wartortle out and then get Blastoise?
And not only is Trevenant out, Trevenant's got a backup Trevenant on the bench just in case something goes wrong. Wow, and another Shelmet. Everything's kind of going Trent's way this game. Double colorless energy on the Accelgor, another level ball.
I mean, if you're Alex, this is very scary, right?
Yeah.
He has pretty much everything he could want right now on Trent's side, and it's just, boy, this is an army of these Pokemon. What am I supposed to do against this? I don't have access to item cards.
Right, and Trent's, of course, since he's got such the strong setup, he's got another double colorless in his hand. He's going for the Tropical Beach. He doesn't need to worry about getting any damage out. Right now, he's pretty much got the game where he wants it. Alex does get the magnetic draw off of Electrode there, though.
Yeah, well, he has too many cards to use it right now, so he's going to have to Juniper and throw away his entire hand.
Bunch of item cards I'm seeing there, Pokemon Catcher, etc.
Well, at the very least, he needs to start attaching Water Energy to Keldeo EX, right? Even if he doesn't get Blastoise out, he can manually attach every turn. It's just 3 energy to use Secret Sword and knock out Trevenant. So that Electrode now will be able to take a hit from the deck and cover, since it does have 90 HP.
Right.
So it may buy him a little time, but we see another Evo Soda and another Accelgor.
He also found he had the double colors in his hand. He's got a Floatstone on a Trevenant. Another Ultra Ball.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yeah. It'll be pretty hard for Trent not to make this out, because he's now literally got the entire trifecta of Trevenant, Accelgor, and Dusknoir out.
Yeah, this is scary. That Dusknoir is going to be huge. I assume this turn he'll use Deck and Cover. That'll put the Electrode up to 6 damage counters. And then even if Keldeo EX does get powered up and comes up, he'll just move all the damage to the Keldeo and then knock it out with Accelgor, since Keldeo is weak to grass. So he's basically saying, all right, Alex, whatever you throw at me, I am prepared now.
Yep, moves that Accelgor up front, Deck and Cover, Paralyze, and brings Trevenant back up. No more item cards on Alex's side of the board.
If there's one thing he needs, it is Wartortle right now. He needs to get that into play this turn. If he doesn't, man, it's going to be tough to win this game. We see the Dusknoir out, the Accelgor out there, 2 Trevenant in play. I mean, feel bad for Alex. He's just totally locked down at this point, but that's what Trent's deck does.
Exactly, and it doesn't look like Alex has a supporter card to play. Or he at least hasn't shown it yet. Oh, he does have a playing energy on his Keldeo already, so he's actually close to getting a Secret Sword off.
Yeah, I think this will be a big turner. He needs to draw Wartortle right now. This is kind of the turning point here. If he gets it out this turn, he'll still have a shot to get Blastoise out, and perhaps he can power up a couple Keldeo EX. So we'll see, does he draw Wartortle right here? We don't see the stage 1 come out very often, but we would love to see him here. and looks like he's not showing up.
Yeah, when you're only running one, math really isn't on your side, even when you're pulling 6 cards there.
Right. I mean, again, he can't play those level balls and ultra balls, so he cannot search for the Wartortle. He'd have to draw right into it. And nope, wasn't able to do it. He did get the 3rd Keldeo EX in play, but he just won't have the energy in play to attack with them.
Trent is got him UEX, which helps him skip that evolution, but he's got the Evo Soda anyway, so he gets to evolve out. So he's got Max Accelgor out there. He's got another Mewtwo on the, or he's got the Mew EX on the bench. He can, if he wants to, he can Sinister Hand. It's interesting. He probably doesn't mind having that Electrode out, even with the magnetic draw, because Alex's hand is going to be so full with all those item cards he can't play.
Right.
It really won't come into play that much.
Oh, we see a Pokemon catcher.
Oh,
my goodness. And
just,
Alex actually concedes the finals, and Trent Orndroff will be your world champion in the senior division. What an incredible display.
Everything went Trent's way that game. Got super quick startup, even though he gave those extra cards to Alex to be able to play that really, really aggressive item-based first turn, knowing that the Trevenant was coming. He wasn't able to keep it up there.
Yeah, let's hear it for both of these players. They played their hearts out. They battled all the way to the finals, but Trent, at the end of the day, is your world champion. I can't remember last time I've seen that many evolution cards in play.
Yeah, it's actually really enheartening, right? Everyone talks about this environment being nothing but big basics. It's cool to see some of these evolutions, and so much of that, I think, is even though it didn't do well, Pyreword's influence on the metagame means that people have to be playing evolutions in their deck.